Okay, welcome back everyone. I got my camera working again this time. I had something changed in the settings. I don't know what it was. It was crazy. As you can see, I got a way more to go over here for the fission reactor, for the turbine, everything. I'm gonna connect it all together today. I'm not gonna go over so much on how to build these things. I figured it out pretty easy, so I think y'all can too. But what I did not see as much, I think that's more important, is how all these things go together. I had to watch a few different videos to figure that out, and I'm going to try to put it all in one video so that y'all don't have to go and look everywhere for it. So yeah, let's see. First things first. Okay, so there's a mistake I made in my last video that I want to correct, and that was, and you'll see in the comments I was kind of saying it, is these fluid ducts. I was using the regular, hold on one second. Fluid duct. I was using these regular fluid ducts. These things are not good. Don't use them for any of this. In that last video, I used them for everything. Everything fell apart within a few days after, or really a few hours. A few in-game days is what I'm talking about. But the regular fluid ducts can't. That's an item duct. The regular fluid ducts cannot hold any of this, anything really, any of the liquids from NuclearCraft from what I'm seeing. They just break and it goes and runs off. So what you need to do is get the hardened fluid ducts and use that for everything. And I'll try to specify if you need something heavier than that, but use the hardened fluid ducts for everything that I'm going to go over. Don't use the regular fluid ducts, they will break on you. Except for, as you can see here, I do have a regular fluid duct, and that's because this here, it never broke. I have something else I'll go over there, but I have this liquid running to the liquid fluid trash can or whatever. That's the acid or whatever. It goes down in here. What was this? Hydrofluoric acid. So that's what's coming out of here and running up into there. So I had already gone over this whole process in the last video. I'll put the link in the description or at the end of the video here on how to build all this. But there was a few extra things I didn't go over. Now you'll notice I've added way more to this, and that's because I'm trying to automate everything. So in this mod pack for McEternal, we have something called Mystical Agriculture. And basically it's OP, it's infinite resources basically, and I've got automatic farmers taking these things and crafting them and putting them down. This was the newest one I had just done. But yeah, it's like this. So I needed granite, so I have quartz and stone, mystical agriculture stuff. It's going from the farmer to the chest and then into the crafter where it crafts it, and then the granite, you'll notice I have this one running all the way over here, goes into here, and so that feeds into there. And the same with all this. If it exists in mystical agriculture, you can put it into an automatic crafter or get the thing and just feed it to there. Really simple. This was getting way too full, so I'm guessing, yeah, I didn't replace this fluid duct, so this may be like the one fluid duct I think that can actually hold the hydrofluoric acid. Like this is the hydrofluoric acid won't break the regular fluid duct, but I noticed I only replaced the ones it was breaking, and that meant I basically replaced them all, and I've just been using that from now on. So I'm crafting the NAK redstone mixture, and I think I didn't go over that part. Now that I'm thinking about it, I only went over how to make the LEU 235, now that I'm thinking about it. So I need to go over how to make this. So this is the coolant. So your salt fission reactor, which I've not gone over yet, needs a coolant. As you can see, net cooling right here. It needs some sort of a coolant to go into it in order to keep the LEU 235 cool. So I'm kind of going to work backwards here, and I find that the best way to go over this. So in order to make the NAK redstone mixture, which is your coolant, you need destabilized redstone and eutectic NAK alloy. So to get the destabilized redstone, you need a melter, and this is a salt mixer, and you need a melter with redstone going into it to get your destabilized redstone. That's the easiest whole part of getting that. As you can see, all this other stuff is for this. And there could be an easier way to do it, but I mean, I looked through everything I possibly could, and that it's insane how much they want you to do really for this. But I mean, it is a very, you know, in-depth mod, and I get it. But I got my redstone feeding from my mystical agriculture, got a whole thing here, so automatically feeds it. So now we need our eutectic NAK alloy. You're gonna get that from the salt mixture, and you need the molten sodium, molten potassium to get that. Now to get the molten sodium, you need an electrolyzer, and it's going to need molten sodium hydroxide. Now that is going to be producing two things. I believe it was liquid oxygen. I believe it's something. I think it was liquid oxygen or something it's going to be producing. But besides your molten sodium, which you want, I have that just running straight into the trash can, fluid trash can. And the reason for that is if I'm not using it and this gets all the way full, it stops producing. So it needs to go somewhere. Oh, it's water. I'm sorry, it's water. I can't remember. It's so many things. It's been a few days since I've done it. But this is your electrolyzer. Now on to your melter, which is giving you your molten sodium hydroxide. You need sodium hydroxide. And so and this is an item duct, and you're gonna get that from the crystallizer, which you have to put in sodium hydroxide solution. And that you're going to get from the chemical reactor of sodium fluoride solution in water. I have an infinite water source running to this, and then I have... and this is running out, so that's your hydrofluoric acid. I have that going to a fluid trash can because we don't want this stopping up the whole thing. So it will be producing. It'll come out here. You can designate input, outputs, and everything. I would suggest doing that, or else it could really mess you up. You'll be wondering, like, why am I not getting fluid through here, or why is this fluid in this pipe? And it's because it's running through the machine. And actually, I've had that problem. Like the water, depending on how you have these things set up, could run straight down into this pipe. It could come from here, run through the machine, come down to this pipe, even though you might just see it as an input. And so you need to watch for that and how you set these up. Now to get the sodium fluoride solution, you need a fluid enricher. Which you need to put in sodium fluoride in water. So again, the infinite water source I'm using, there's a sink over there, like a few sinks actually, I just had extra. But water and then your sodium fluoride, and then that will give you your sodium fluoride solution. Now to get the sodium fluoride, I actually have this running from a pipe. I believe it was down here. Was it down here? Sodium fluoride, yes. So this item duct right here is supplying the sodium fluoride. So you get that from the manufacturer. This was in the last video, but I'll still go through a bit. But you get the sodium fluoride from the crushed williamite, which I have. You can see I have a whole chest here. I'm saving the sulfur because I got the sulfur going somewhere. We'll go over that later. I have the other runoff of this, the however you pronounce that, going to just the trash can because I don't need that right now. And then that's all coming from the rock crusher, which is from the granite. The granite's being supplied for the mystical agriculture. So back over to where we were, but that's how you get the sodium fluoride, and that's how you get sodium fluoride solution, and that goes all the way back down, eventually gives you the molten sodium. Now to get to the molten potassium, we got to go up here, and this is another electrolyzer. It's giving me molten potassium hydroxide. Now this produces a few things. Let's see, yes, there's water there, that's for sure water. I believe this produces like 3 things. Yes, I believe there's like 2 or 3 things this produces. And again, you don't want this getting stopped up. So the molten potassium hydroxide is producing a few things here. I have them running into the fluid trash can, the things I'm not using, again, because you don't want to get them stopped up. And then the rest is running down there. Now to get the molten potassium hydroxide, you need to use a melter, and you need potassium hydroxide for that. And again, this whole process takes a lot of power. Don't start this whole process unless you have something that can power all these machines. Like, this takes a lot of power. I have upgrades on these. I need to grab more upgrades. But to get your potassium hydroxide, which is coming from an item duct, you need a crystallizer, and that needs potassium hydroxide solution, which comes from your chemical reactor, which needs water and potassium fluoride solution. Now this is producing again two things. I think this is the hydrofluoric acid. I have it going into the fluid trash can, an infinite water source. But to get the potassium fluoride solution, you need a fluid enricher, which needs water and, oh, did I run out? I think I ran out. Okay, I'll have to go look exactly what it was I was feeding into here. But this gives you your potassium fluoride solution. Where did I have this coming from? Oh, okay, yeah, I may be out. But what you get in here comes from the manufactory. Whatever puts in here, you know, it comes out, goes into here. Let's see, what was I feeding in here? So it needs, oh, I'm out of diorite. So that's the one thing I've not automated yet out of this, and I was going to and I forgot, was the diorite. So you need to feed this with diorite. It gives you the rock crusher. You get crushed fluorite and zirconium dust, but you also get crushed carbonite. That's what you wanted. The crushed carbonite will be pulled out of here and go back up into the manufactory. The crushed carbonite goes into here, which then goes into here, and that will give you your potassium fluoride solution. And again, you do all that just to get these two, molten potassium, molten sodium hydroxide, just to go into here as the eutectic NaK alloy. Now, no matter what sort of coolant you choose to go with, there's a whole range of coolants in the mod pack. No matter what coolant you choose, you're going to need NaK alloy, eutectic NaK alloy. That's something I just noticed across the way. And I did the redstone because that's the easiest one base to get. But yeah, you're going to need to do this whole process no matter what coolant you go for. And that will give you again your redstone mixture. And I don't have a tank set up yet, and I need to, but I had it going straight in. And you'll see I have this coming out of this tank because this tank recycles the waste from here. I'll show you that here in a minute. But I was using this for something else as well. So you'll see I have the crushed fluorite and zirconium dust. That's going into the fluid enricher as crushed fluorite water to give me fluorite water, which goes into the chemical reactor, which I have sulfuric acid feeding into it, and fluoride water, which whatever that gives me, I'm trying to remember. And I am using the fluid ducts here. Again, I only replaced all the fluid ducts that broke on me, and they started breaking like all at once. I don't know, it was weird. I think it's when they get backed up. But you see hydrofluoric acid that's coming out of here, I believe, and then the other thing that's coming in here. Actually, I could just probably take a look, but in the end, I'm getting calcium sulfate, which is something you're going to need for a lot of these machines. What I'm going to show you, that's why I'm showing you this process. You're going to need this for a lot of these machines. Let's see, calcium sulfate. There, okay, so it's giving me calcium sulfate solution, so that's what this is making. Now, to get your sulfuric acid, you're going to need a infuser, and you need sulfur trioxide. And I believe, yeah, this is water and water vapor. So you're going to need water vapor and sulfuric trioxide to get your sulfuric acid. Now, you can easily get the water vapor from one of these rotary condensator. What? My tongue, it's going. My mouth, my voice, whatever. You know what it is. You get it from that. You feed it water. You know, you may have to do the toggle operations, I think, in order to reverse it or something. You may. I can't remember. But to get your sulfuric trioxide going over here, you're going to need an infuser, and it's going to need oxygen, and it's going to need sulfur dioxide. Now, my oxygen is coming from over here, from my electrolytic separator, which is just water feeding it, and to ensure it continues to run, I have my hydrogen running to a basic tank, which is set on dumping. That way it continues to produce oxygen non-stop. But yeah, that's where my oxygen's coming from. And then my sulfur dioxide is coming from the chemical oxidizer. Now you'll see I have the sulfur running into it. I got these little, I don't know why I set it up so weird, but I have my sulfur here, and the sulfur again is coming from here, which is coming from the rock crusher and the granite. So that's going to be a big thing you're going to need for a lot of this, and that's the whole process on how to get the calcium sulfate. Again, I'm not going into a lot of detail with this. I felt it pretty easy to figure out once you start working with it. You'll get the hang of it really quick, and I'm assuming you have something that you can look up the recipes on these machines. Okay, so now okay, so this is another process you're going to need, because you're going to need boron arsenide in order to craft the nope, actually I do need this one in order to craft the thermoconducting alloy, which you will need. So in order to craft that, you're going to need a lot of andesite, which again I'm getting from the mystical agriculture, into the rock crusher, which gives you the crushed arsenic and the beryllium dust and the beryllium dust and the allogentum dust. I probably butchered that name. I've set this on a whitelist for these two so that they get pulled out and only the crushed arsenic is in here, because now you need to go down to a melter, which gives you the crushed arsenic, which goes into the molten arsenic. Now you take your molten arsenic, and I'll show you where to get the molten boron tin here in a second, and that gives you the molten boron arsenide, which goes down to your ingot former, which will give you the boron arsenide. Now to get your molten boron, I need to put some more boron in here, but you put boron ingots. Boron ingots go into the isotope separator. They become boron 11 and something else, I think. What else do you become? Hold up. Yeah, okay, so the boron ingot or the boron dust, whichever you choose, will give you the boron 11 and a tiny clump of boron, which will be used for the melter to give you the molten boron 11. I think the tiny clump, big clump both produce the same thing, just different amounts. Again, for this, and you will need this, so that's why it's in for this whole process here. I apologize for any FPS drops. That's more the server rather than my computer. Okay, so we've gone over the process now, like the stuff you're gonna need, basically how to get it. I don't believe I forgot anything that you can't, like, you're not using in the machines, like it's producing an acid or water or whatever, and you're not using that for anything in the process. Just take it and put it into a trash can, or else you're gonna get backed up. I'm just telling you that now. You're gonna get it backed up. Now I'm not gonna go over how to build these. Like I said, I'm not going over how to build these. I'm going over the process. So you have the molten salt reactor. It'll show me my fission vessels, how many coolant heaters I have. So I'll kind of tell you. So the middle is the fission vessels, and then on the sides is the coolant heaters, and you have to have them touching. Now I left these on default, but you're gonna have to like click or shift click each side in order to make sure it's set to default. Push, pull. What is it pushing? What is it pulling? It can be a little bit complicated, but there are other videos on it. But yeah, this is just a really basic setup I have right here, and then I have this pulling out the waste from the NAK alloy mixture, the redstone mixture, and then this I have coming out here is the waste for the LEU 235. I'm not using the waste for the LEU 235 right now. I probably will in the future, but it's going into the trash can for now. And so I will actually turn this on really quick to kind of show you. It is on. Might not be able to tell, but it is. It lit up blue. You see this coming out? Now you'll hear some ticking. Well, it stopped, of course, as soon as I said you'll hear it. Well, there it was again. But that's radiation. Now, it's not big. For what I built, it's like negligible almost, but you still will have a little bit of radiation. I'm not wearing a radiation suit or anything, but it's not harming me. You may want to, I think, depending on how big. You can get really big with these. This is, like I said, really, really basic setup. A lot of this for me was experimenting. But it's giving me my runoff, and it's staying pretty cool right now because I had a lot in the pipe. So again, I don't have any going in any fluid container like that. It was just full. As soon as the pipes sort of go down, you're gonna want to turn this off because you'll see it'll start to store heat. And I'll show you that in a second because I'm sure it'll do that. But again, the runoff from the LU235 is going in the fluid trash can. Now this is going into what's called a heat exchanger. Now I'll show you what this here is in a second, but it's going into the heat exchange vents. Now this got a little confusing for me. So you need water coming in on one side and the runoff coming in on the other, and they need to cross over opposite way. So one of the, now they're all pipes, you can't really tell, but this whole thing right here is running actually like a pipe based on how I've set it up, and there's two layers. The top layer is running the water, the bottom layer is running the runoff, and you need them to cross over each other in opposite directions. Oh, I flew way too fast there for a second. I just need to check this again. I don't want it heating up. I don't know if it explodes. I suspect something bad happens if you let the heat build all the way up in it, so don't let that happen. But you'll see it says number of tubes 38, mean efficiency 100. It's using all the basically the same material as this, a little bit different, but again, your water's going on one side, the runoff's coming on the other, and it's allowing me to reuse the redstone mixture. That's what this is good for. So I don't get all of it back, but I do get a bit back. I would say maybe 25%, somewhere in there. I haven't done the exact math, but based on how I've used this, I suspect that. So it's good to have one of these just because of how much it takes to make that redstone mixture for the coolant. And so the coolant comes back over here, and it goes through the machine, it comes out. Now my water, to keep this thing running, my water is turning into steam, high pressure steam to be exact. And that was why I did this whole process, is because I'm experimenting with the turbine. I needed steam, but I can't use high pressure steam for the turbine, or at least I don't think I can. I've not tried, but you'll see what I mean here in a second. So I'm using the super laminar fluid duct. You have to use that, from what I'm aware, for the high pressure steam, or else things are going to blow up on you. And it's going into another heat exchanger. This one's a little bit you could build these a number of ways, so I built it a little different. Mean efficiency 100%. You can see it's going in here. So again, they need to cross in opposite directions. Water coming on one side, the super high pressure steam coming on the other side. And I've got them in layers, and they're pipes, and they cross over just like that. So the steam's coming in over here, the water's coming in over here. And what's wonderful about this is your water, as it actually goes through this process, it also becomes high pressure steam. And so I have it feeding back up into the loop in order to go through again. So you're getting basically almost twice the output with this, which is why I did this. And then it becomes regular steam as it comes out. And I have that running to my giant turbine, which I built this way too big. You can see my steam input is 616 around there. Without this machine, with just these, because I do have these feeding in, without these machines it would be about 40. So it's giving me about 580, 590, somewhere in there, steam. And I could have built these a lot bigger, inside, or everything. I could have built it bigger. I could have gone way more. Again, this was me experimenting with a lot of things. But yeah, again, heat exchanger. It's running at 100%, and it's giving me my steam for my turbine. And again, my turbine in exchange will power all my machines. And despite having all these machines, the input of the steam and the output of energy I'm getting from the steam turbine is still more than it takes to power all these machines. So my output in the end is greater than my input in terms of power and all that. The biggest thing for anyone wanting to do this is going to be resources. Like I said, mystical agriculture is way overpowered. It's basically infinite resources of whatever I want, as long as there exists a crop of it. and I've automated all of it except for this last bit on the top. I was waiting for it to fill out a little bit more. This is my lithium. So I'm going to have my lithium go into here to become lithium ingots to go feed into my machine down here. But that, I believe, is the whole process. Again, I made a little mistake on the last one. You need to use the well, you can use signalium plated fluid ducts. Why did everything go black? I bet it's one of those mobs. There's a mob in McEternal that'll hit you with blindness and stuff. He lives in mines underground. I got a few caves that I still haven't dealt with in the walls. He's probably around here somewhere. I'll have to find and deal with him. He usually will highlight on the screen wherever he is. But again, it's super complicated, I know. But just handle it one step at a time, just like I have, and eventually it'll become real simple. You'll get it. It is trial and error, some of it. Just be patient again. Just, you know. This is a good thing to have as well, and I didn't go over this because I wasn't thinking of the importance of it at the time. But using your electrolytic separator and getting your oxygen, which I have filling up here, it goes into the purification chamber. I got another ultimate gas tank that's full of oxygen here because whatever you put in here is going to need oxygen. These ores can't be put in here. That's why they're still unused. But ores that can be used go into here, go into the elite crushing factory, then they go into the elite enriching factory because they're like, it's like dirty dust that it just becomes regular dust, whatever. You get a lot more out of it by doing this whole process. Or if you want to just do this process, just start here, you can, doesn't matter. But I use the enhanced alloy smelter. I got something better here now, but there are certain alloys you'll have to mix together, like the tough alloy. I think for this whole process, I used 2 diamond chests full of tough alloy for this whole process to make. So you're gonna need a lot of tough alloy, like a lot. Like you're gonna find you're gonna need a lot of it, basically. But I just have this chest. I put my stuff in here. It feeds into there, and it comes on out. This is my new one. This is the ultimate furnace, and that's from the Mystical Agriculture. Let me see if I can actually show how fast it does this. Hold up. I would suggest using this for all your regular stuff, because obvious reasons, if you can have it and you can do it. Because this thing's just insanely fast compared to this. This one will smelt 3 or 4 at a time. This thing just instantaneous. It's wonderful. I love it. I'll do the rest of that later. But again, all my power, I shouldn't say all my power, is coming from, the majority of it, it's coming from this turbine. I have a MV solar array over here, and I got a few turbines set up there. But that's almost nothing for what all this needs. I also have another power source up here I will show you. I won't go into detail on how this is done, but this is like the compressor dynamo. I don't even know if I have this completely set up right. It's a mess, but it was more of an experiment again in itself. I'm learning a lot myself. But yeah, that's I'll go over it. This is a money farm over there. But I got a big oil supply that I drained over there. And so that's why I've got that running. But again, that's hardly nothing compared to what the steam turbine is outputting. But yeah, I believe that covers everything. So again, fission reactor, heat exchanger, steam for the turbine. But yeah, I hope that helps y'all to understand how this process works. If there's anything I left out, let me know in the comments. But I do think that covers everything, so I will see y'all next time.